You're worried about security for your million, that the Taglias will guarantee it.
Oh, are you telling me that the Taglias guarantee our investment?
Wait a minute. I have a sentimental weakness for my children, and I spoil them, as you can see. They talk when they should listen. But anyway, Senor Sonoza, my no is final, and I wish to congratulate you on your new business. I know you do very well, and good luck to you. Santino, come here. What's the matter with you? I think your brain is going soft. From all that comedy you're playing with that young girl. Never tell anybody outside the family what you're thinking again. Come on.
The Godfather trilogy presents us with some of the most compelling character studies in cinematic history, and at the heart of this epic saga stands Vito Corleone, a character whose transformation from orphaned immigrant to powerful patriarch demonstrates profound principles of leadership, strategic thinking, and personal development. Whilst the criminal context of his rise to power is something we must reject, the underlying psychological traits and strategic approaches that enabled his success offer valuable lessons that can be applied to legitimate endeavors. As always, these are educational videos that help break down the psyches of different types of people and how to incorporate the traits that they possess into our own lives accordingly. Because, as they say, the wise man learns from everything and everyone, whereas the fool has all the answers. In our previous analysis of Michael Corleone, we explored how the younger generation of the family embodied certain aspects of strategic masculinity and cold calculation. However, Vito Corleone represents something fundamentally different, a more mature, relationship-focused approach to power that emphasizes long-term thinking, genuine service to community, and the building of sustainable influence through trust and reciprocity rather than fear alone. What makes Vito particularly fascinating from a psychological perspective is that his power wasn't built primarily on violence or intimidation, but on his ability to solve problems, build relationships, and create value for others in his community. His approach demonstrates how authentic leadership and strategic thinking can create lasting influence and respect, principles that are as relevant in boardrooms and community organizations as they were in 1940s New York. So let's examine the 5 traits to learn and implement from Vito Corleone in The Godfather. Number 1, quiet authority and understated power. Perhaps Vito Corleone's most defining characteristic is his ability to command absolute respect and obedience whilst rarely raising his voice or resorting to dramatic displays of power. Throughout the Godfather films, we see him consistently demonstrating what could be called quiet authority, a form of leadership that derives its strength from competence, consistency, and genuine care for others rather than intimidation or self-aggrandizement. This quiet authority is evident from Vito's very first scene in The Godfather during his daughter's wedding reception. Whilst celebration continues outside, he sits calmly in his office, listening to petitioners and solving their problems with thoughtful consideration. His power is evident not in what he says, but in how others approach him, with genuine respect and careful deference that comes from understanding his capabilities rather than fearing his wrath. The psychological sophistication of Vito's approach becomes clear when we contrast it with other powerful figures throughout the films. Characters like Sonny, or even the young Michael, often resort to raised voices, threats, or dramatic gestures to assert their authority. Vito, however, demonstrates that true power often manifests in restraint and thoughtfulness. His famous line, "I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse," is delivered with calm certainty rather than bluster or threat. This understated power implements Law 30 from the 48 Laws of Power. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Vito never appears to be straining or struggling to maintain his position. His authority seems natural and inevitable, which makes others more likely to accept it without resistance. When he speaks, others listen not because they fear punishment, but because they recognize wisdom and competence. The quiet authority that Vito embodies is particularly evident in how he handles conflict and discipline within his organization. When members of his family or crew disappoint him, he doesn't explode in anger or make dramatic threats. Instead, he expresses disappointment in ways that cut deeper than any shouting could. His calm statement, "You have been my friend for years, but you betrayed me," carries more weight than any dramatic outburst because it comes from a place of genuine hurt and measured response. This approach to authority is also evident in Vito's relationship with his sons, particularly in contrast to how Michael later handles similar situations. Where Michael often rules through fear and isolation, Vito builds loyalty through demonstrated care and consistent fairness. His authority within his family comes not just from being the patriarch, but from consistently proving that his guidance leads to better outcomes for everyone involved. In the flashback sequences showing young Vito's rise to power, we see how this quiet authority developed over time. Even as a young man establishing his territory in Little Italy, Vito's approach emphasizes problem-solving and community service rather than simple dominance. He doesn't announce his power, he demonstrates it through results and consistent reliability. The practical application of quiet authority in legitimate contexts means developing genuine competence that speaks for itself, building trust through consistent performance rather than self-promotion, and learning to influence through demonstrated value rather than positional power. In business settings, this might mean becoming the person others naturally turn to for guidance rather than demanding recognition or authority. This trait also requires developing emotional regulation and self-control that allow you to remain calm and thoughtful even in challenging situations. As Proverbs 17:27 states, "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered." Vito's quiet authority demonstrates how restraint and thoughtfulness can be more powerful than dramatic displays of force or emotion. The development of this trait involves learning to speak with purpose rather than filling silence, building influence through consistent competence rather than self-promotion, and developing the confidence that comes from genuine capability rather than artificial bravado. Number 2, strategic patience and long-term thinking. Vito Corleone demonstrates exceptional ability to think in terms of decades rather than days, building power and influence through patient strategic accumulation rather than impulsive grabs for immediate advantage. Throughout the Godfather saga, we see him consistently choosing long-term strategic benefits over short-term tactical wins, an approach that creates sustainable power and lasting influence. This strategic patience is evident in how Vito builds his organization over many years. Rather than simply taking territory through violence, he focuses on building relationships, establishing trust, and creating genuine value for his community. In the early scenes of his rise to power, we see him helping families with problems that the legitimate authorities cannot or will not solve, slowly building a network of people who owe him favors and genuinely appreciate his assistance. The sophistication of Vito's long-term thinking becomes clear when we examine his approach to business development and territorial expansion. Unlike more impulsive characters who grab what they can immediately, Vito invests time in understanding markets, building relationships with suppliers and customers, and establishing sustainable revenue streams. His olive oil importing business serves both as legitimate income and as cover for other activities, demonstrating how strategic thinking can create multiple benefits from single investments. Vito's strategic patience is particularly evident in how he handles threats and conflicts. When faced with challenges to his authority or attacks on his interests, he doesn't always respond immediately or directly. Instead, he often waits for optimal timing, gathers necessary resources, and strikes in ways that solve problems permanently rather than just addressing immediate symptoms. This approach implements Strategy 2 from the 33 Strategies of War. Do not fight the last war. Vito consistently adapts his strategies to changing circumstances rather than relying on approaches that worked in the past. His evolution from hands-on street operator to strategic overseer demonstrates sophisticated understanding of how leadership roles must change as organizations grow and mature. The contrast between Vito's patience and his son's more impulsive approaches is particularly instructive. Sonny's hot-headed responses to provocation ultimately lead to his death, whilst Michael's calculated but often rushed decisions create ongoing conflicts that plague the family for generations. Vito's patient approach, by contrast, builds lasting stability and genuine respect that outlive immediate tactical situations. In the famous scene where Vito refuses to involve the family in drug trafficking, his decision demonstrates long-term strategic thinking that prioritizes sustainable power over immediate profit. He recognizes that drug dealing will bring unwanted law enforcement attention and public disapproval that could undermine everything he's built over decades. His patience in declining lucrative but strategically dangerous opportunities shows sophisticated understanding of risk management and sustainability. Vito's long-term thinking is also evident in his approach to succession planning and family development. He invests significant time and energy in preparing his sons for leadership, understanding that his personal power means nothing if it cannot be transferred effectively to the next generation. His patience in developing Michael's capabilities, even when Michael initially shows no interest in the family business, demonstrates remarkable strategic foresight. The practical application of strategic patience in legitimate contexts means learning to evaluate opportunities based on long-term strategic value rather than immediate returns, building systems and relationships that compound over time, and developing the discipline to decline attractive short-term opportunities that could compromise long-term objectives. In business contexts, this might mean investing in employee development and company culture, even when it doesn't produce immediate profits, building customer relationships that prioritize lifetime value over individual transaction margins, or developing capabilities and market positions that will provide sustainable competitive advantages over years and decades. This trait requires developing what psychologists call delayed gratification tolerance, the ability to work toward distant rewards without being distracted by immediate temptations. As Proverbs 21:5 reminds us, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. Vito's strategic patience demonstrates how thoughtful long-term planning creates sustainable success that impulsive action cannot achieve. Number 3, reciprocity and relationship building. One of Vito Corleone's most sophisticated traits is his masterful understanding of reciprocity and his exceptional ability to build and maintain complex webs of relationships based on mutual obligation and genuine value creation. Throughout the Godfather films, we see him consistently demonstrating that sustainable power comes not from what you can take from people, but from what you can do for them, and how well you can create systems of mutual benefit. This mastery of reciprocity is evident from the very opening scenes of The Godfather, where we see Vito listening to various petitioners during his daughter's wedding. In each case, he doesn't simply grant favors arbitrarily or demand immediate payment. Instead, he carefully considers each request, often asking for understanding that the favor may be returned someday, creating ongoing relationships rather than simple transactions. The psychological sophistication of Vito's approach to reciprocity becomes clear when we examine how it differs from simple transactional thinking. He understands that true influence comes from creating genuine obligations and emotional bonds rather than just business arrangements. When he helps the undertaker Bonacera get justice for his daughter, Vito doesn't ask for money. He asks for friendship and future loyalty, understanding that emotional bonds are more valuable and sustainable than financial relationships. This relationship-building approach implements what could be considered an advanced version of Law 13 from the 48 Laws of Power. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. However, Vito's approach is more sophisticated because he doesn't just appeal to immediate self-interest. He creates ongoing systems of mutual benefit that serve everyone's long-term interests. Vito's mastery of reciprocity is particularly evident in how he structures his organization and manages his territory. Rather than ruling through fear alone, he creates genuine value for his community by solving problems that legitimate authorities cannot address, protecting businesses from exploitation, and providing services that improve people's lives.
This approach builds authentic loyalty that goes beyond simple fear-based compliance. The contrast between Vito's relationship-building approach and Michael's more transactional style is particularly instructive. Where Michael often relies on fear and calculated exchanges, Vito builds genuine emotional bonds that create lasting loyalty. In our previous analysis of Michael, we noted his ability to be cold, calm, and calculated. But Vito demonstrates how warmth and genuine care can be even more powerful than cold calculation in building sustainable influence.
Throughout the flashback sequences showing young Vito's rise to power, we see how his relationship-building skills develop over time. He doesn't simply announce himself as a neighborhood power. He earns that position by consistently solving problems, protecting the vulnerable, and creating value for his community. His approach to building power demonstrates understanding that sustainable influence must be based on genuine service rather than just intimidation. Vito's reciprocity mastery extends to his approach to conflict resolution and problem solving. Rather than simply imposing solutions through force, he often finds ways to address problems that leave all parties feeling they've gained something valuable. This win-win approach creates lasting resolutions rather than temporary ceasefires, building his reputation as someone who creates genuine solutions rather than just exercising power. The sophisticated nature of Vito's relationship building is also evident in his approach to family dynamics and personal relationships. He invests significant emotional energy in understanding each family member's particular needs and motivations, creating individual bonds that support the larger family structure. His relationship with each son is different because he recognizes their different personalities and capabilities, demonstrating emotional intelligence that enhances his leadership effectiveness. The practical application of reciprocity mastery in legitimate contexts means learning to create genuine value for others before asking for anything in return, building relationships based on mutual benefit rather than one-sided extraction, and developing the emotional intelligence to understand what different people truly value and need. In business contexts, this might mean focusing on customer success rather than just sales targets, investing in employee development and satisfaction as a path to business success, or building supplier relationships that prioritize mutual prosperity rather than extracting the lowest possible prices. The key is understanding that sustainable success comes from creating value for others rather than just capturing value for yourself. This trait also requires developing genuine empathy and interest in others' well-being, moving beyond transactional thinking to relationship thinking. As Matthew 7:12 reminds us, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." Vito's approach to reciprocity demonstrates how genuine service to others becomes the foundation for lasting influence and respect. Number 4, principled decision-making and moral consistency. Despite operating in a morally ambiguous environment, Vito Corleone demonstrates remarkable consistency in his principles and decision-making frameworks throughout the Godfather saga. He maintains clear boundaries about what he will and will not do, and these principles guide his choices even when they might cost him immediate advantages or profits. This moral consistency becomes a source of strength and predictability that others can rely on and respect. Vito's principled approach is perhaps most evident in his refusal to involve his family in drug trafficking, even when it represents enormous profit potential. His famous statement that drugs are a dirty business that will destroy the political relationships he spent decades building demonstrates sophisticated understanding of how moral choices affect strategic positioning. Unlike many powerful figures who compromise their principles for short-term gain, Vito recognizes that moral consistency is itself a form of strategic asset. The psychological sophistication of Vito's principled decision-making becomes clear when we contrast it with more opportunistic approaches to power. Many characters throughout the Godfather saga make decisions based purely on immediate advantage or emotional reaction. Vito, however, filters his choices through consistent principles that create predictability and trust, even among those who might otherwise be opponents. This principled approach is also evident in Vito's treatment of family and loyal associates. He maintains clear standards of loyalty, respect, and fairness that apply consistently regardless of circumstances.
When family members or associates violate these principles, he responds in ways that reinforce the standards rather than making exceptions that would undermine the entire system. The contrast between Vito's principled approach and Michael's more pragmatic evolution is particularly instructive. As we noted in our previous analysis of Michael, the younger Corleone becomes increasingly willing to compromise moral principles for strategic advantage, ultimately leading to isolation and family destruction. Vito's approach demonstrates how maintaining core principles can actually enhance rather than limit strategic effectiveness.
Throughout the films, we see Vito's principles tested repeatedly, and his consistent adherence to them builds his reputation as someone whose word can be trusted and whose behavior can be predicted. This reliability becomes a competitive advantage because others know what to expect from him, making negotiations and relationships more straightforward and sustainable. Vito's principled decision-making is particularly evident in his approach to violence and conflict resolution. Whilst he's certainly capable of authorizing violence when necessary, he consistently treats it as a last resort rather than a first option. His approach demonstrates understanding that excessive or unprincipled violence creates ongoing problems that can undermine long-term strategic objectives. The sophisticated nature of Vito's moral framework is also evident in his approach to business relationships and community service. He maintains clear distinctions between legitimate and illegitimate activities, often using profits from questionable enterprises to support genuinely beneficial community services. This moral complexity demonstrates understanding that ethical leadership sometimes requires operating in gray areas whilst maintaining core principles. In the famous scene where Vito meets with the other family heads to negotiate peace after Sonny's death, his principled approach to the discussion demonstrates how moral consistency can serve strategic purposes. His willingness to make genuine concessions and his clear communication about his principles help create a sustainable agreement that serves everyone's interests. The practical application of principled decision-making in legitimate contexts means developing clear values and ethical frameworks that guide your choices, regardless of immediate pressures or opportunities, building reputation and trust through consistent adherence to stated principles, and understanding that moral consistency can become a competitive advantage in relationships and negotiations. In business contexts, this might mean maintaining consistent standards of quality and service even when it's costly, treating employees and customers with respect and fairness regardless of their power or influence, or declining profitable opportunities that compromise your core values or long-term reputation. This trait requires developing what philosophers call moral courage, the strength to maintain your principles even when it's difficult or costly. As Daniel 1:8 reminds us about standing firm in principles. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. Vito's principled approach demonstrates how moral consistency becomes a source of strength and respect rather than weakness or limitation. Number 5. Wisdom and strategic counsel. Perhaps Vito Corleone's most valuable trait is his exceptional ability to provide wise counsel and strategic guidance that helps others achieve their objectives while serving larger purposes. Throughout the Godfather films, we see him consistently demonstrating sophisticated understanding of human nature, strategic dynamics, and long-term consequences that allows him to offer advice and guidance that proves remarkably effective over time. This wisdom is evident in Vito's approach to problem-solving and decision-making throughout the films. When people bring him complex problems, whether family disputes, business challenges, or conflicts with other organizations, he consistently demonstrates ability to see beyond immediate symptoms to underlying causes and to develop solutions that address root issues rather than just temporary difficulties. The sophistication of Vito's strategic counsel becomes clear when we examine how his advice consistently produces better long-term outcomes than the more obvious or emotionally satisfying alternatives. His guidance to Michael about patience, preparation, and strategic thinking proves invaluable in Michael's later development, even though Michael sometimes struggles to apply these lessons effectively. Vito's wisdom is particularly evident in his understanding of timing and strategic positioning. Throughout the films, We see him consistently advising patience when others want immediate action, careful preparation when others want to rush forward, and strategic thinking when others are driven by emotion or immediate pressure. His counsel consistently proves correct over time, building his reputation as someone whose guidance can be trusted even in the most challenging circumstances. This strategic counsel ability implements what could be considered a sophisticated application of Law 43 from the 48 Laws of Power, work on the hearts and minds of others. However, Vito's approach goes beyond simple influence to genuine service. He provides counsel that truly serves others' best interests, rather than just manipulating them for his own purposes. The contrast between Vito's wisdom-based approach and the more impulsive decision-making we see from other characters throughout the saga is particularly instructive. Characters like Sonny, or even the later Michael, often make decisions based on immediate emotions or tactical considerations, whilst Vito's counsel consistently emphasizes long-term strategic thinking and comprehensive understanding of consequences. Throughout the films, we see evidence of Vito's exceptional ability to understand human psychology and motivation. His counsel consistently takes into account not just strategic and tactical considerations, but also the emotional and psychological factors that influence how people respond to different approaches. This comprehensive understanding allows him to provide guidance that works not just logically, but practically. Vito's wisdom is also evident in his approach to succession planning and leadership development. His guidance to his sons about leadership, responsibility, and strategic thinking demonstrates sophisticated understanding of how capabilities develop over time and what kinds of experiences and preparation are necessary for effective leadership in complex environments. The practical application of wisdom and strategic counsel in legitimate contexts means developing comprehensive understanding of how systems work and how people respond to different approaches. Learning to see beyond immediate symptoms to underlying causes and long-term patterns, and cultivating the ability to provide guidance that serves others' genuine best interests rather than just immediate wants. In business contexts, this might mean becoming the person others naturally turn to for strategic advice and problem-solving, developing reputation as someone whose counsel consistently proves valuable over time, or building influence through demonstrated wisdom rather than positional authority or political maneuvering. This trait requires developing what philosophers call practical wisdom, the ability to understand not just what should be done in theory, but what will actually work in practice given human nature and real-world constraints. As Proverbs 27:17 states, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Vito's approach to strategic counsel demonstrates how genuine wisdom shared generously becomes a source of lasting influence and respect. The development of this trait involves continuous learning and reflection, careful observation of human behavior and strategic dynamics, and genuine commitment to serving others' long-term interests rather than just immediate preferences or your own agenda. These 5 traits that we observe in Vito Corleone, quiet authority, strategic patience, reciprocity mastery, principled decision-making, and strategic wisdom, represent a sophisticated approach to leadership and power that emphasizes service, relationship building, and long-term value creation over immediate domination or short-term advantage. What makes Vito's character particularly valuable for study is that his approach to power and influence is fundamentally different from the more calculating and isolated approach we examined in Michael Corleone. Where Michael demonstrates the power of cold, strategic thinking and emotional detachment, Vito shows how warmth, genuine service, and moral consistency can create even more sustainable and respected forms of leadership. The contrast between father and son illustrates an important principle about power and success. There are multiple paths to influence and achievement, and the most sustainable approaches are often those that create genuine value for others rather than simply extracting value for yourself. Vito's relationship-based approach to power proves more durable and satisfying than Michael's fear-based methods, even though both are effective in their own contexts. The psychological sophistication that Vito embodies, the ability to build genuine loyalty through service, to maintain moral consistency under pressure,
to think strategically across decades rather than months, and to provide wisdom that genuinely helps others achieve their objectives, represents an advanced form of leadership that remains relevant and valuable in contemporary contexts. In legitimate business and community contexts, Vito's approach demonstrates how authentic leadership can create lasting value and influence. His emphasis on relationship building, principled decision-making, and genuine service provides a template for leadership that creates sustainable success, whilst contributing positively to communities and organizations.
The practical lessons from Vito's approach extend into every area of life. In professional contexts, his traits translate into leadership styles that build loyal teams, create sustainable competitive advantages, and establish reputations for reliability and wisdom. In personal relationships, his approach demonstrates how genuine service and consistent principles create deeper and more meaningful connections than transactional or manipulative approaches. Perhaps most importantly, Vito's character demonstrates that true power comes not from what you can take from others, but from what you can give to them, and how effectively you can create systems of mutual benefit. His legacy in the Godfather saga comes not from his capacity for violence or intimidation, but from his ability to solve problems, build relationships, and create value for his community. Remember, the goal is not to become a crime family patriarch, but to understand the psychological and strategic principles that made Vito's leadership so effective and apply those principles within ethical frameworks for positive purposes. As Micah 6:8 reminds us, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good." And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. In your own life and career, developing these traits, quiet authority that commands respect through competence, strategic patience that builds sustainable advantages, reciprocity mastery that creates lasting relationships, principled decision-making that builds trust and predictability, and wisdom that serves others' genuine interests, can help you achieve remarkable influence and success whilst maintaining your integrity and contributing positively to everyone around you. The wise man learns from everything and everyone, while the fool has all the answers. By learning from Vito's approach to leadership and power, whilst applying these principles within ethical frameworks for positive purposes, we can develop the capabilities needed for sustainable success without compromising our values or harming others. True leadership serves others whilst achieving worthy objectives, and Vito Corleone remains one of fiction's most compelling teachers of this profound truth.